Okay guys, just to recap on some of the stuff covered in training from Google Calendar. There are two quick ways you can access the calendar. You can either select it from the Ascot Apps page just by clicking on it, or you can go to your email and you'll see if you click on the grid that there's a calendar app there. So once you've opened it, you'll come, this is my default view here, but you can select the different views that you want. So at the moment I'm on week, but I could select day, week, month, 4 days, or agenda. As I say, it's my personal preference that I prefer week. If you want to change that, you want to change the default, then we just go into settings, and then scroll down, and we can see that the default view here is week. Right, so you can change it to any one of the others. In the custom view there, you could change it to something else as well if you wanted. But for me, that's week and 4 days is fine. So back to my calendar. Next, to add an event, right, there are 3 ways you can do this. You can either click on a time, so let's say 8 o'clock on a Friday, I have an event, and I can add the event there. So I could just write test event, and I can click create event. You see that appears. We can go to create, right, which is a more detailed view of how you can add an event. We can fill it and have details there, or you can just go to quick add, where I can say meeting test tomorrow, let's say 8:30 AM. If I click add, you'll see that's automatically gone in for tomorrow. I've got my meeting at 8:30. So now, if I wanted to add somebody else's calendars, we've got 2 things down the left here. So I've got my calendars here, and I can see Mark Allen, Headmaster's calendar, sports fixtures and tasks. If I wanted to add another member of staff's calendar, we go to this bit here, other calendars, and then I type in their email address. So here we've got Stephen Holmes, and if I click on his, you can see he's automatically added there. Alright, so he now appears in my calendars, and I can see all of his events. Now that's not very clear, the colours there between the Headmasters and Stephen Holmes. So I can just go on to, if I just click on that pull down arrow there, and you can see you've got a grid of colours here, and I can just select one that makes it more, it makes it clearer, so I can see the difference between everybody's events that are going on. And now that I've added somebody else's calendar, alright, let's say I want to create an event. Again, I'll click back to my test event here, so I can select, I can reselect an event, I can delete it, or I can go to edit event. Okay, and now I want to add Stephen Holmes, and I'll also add Booth, Headmaster. Okay, so I've added 3 people there. If I wanted to see whether they were busy or not, according to their calendars, right, I can just go to find a time, up here, and I can see whether either of them are busy. So here, I can see that Gary Booth is free, so I could have the meeting then, but the problem is Stephen Holmes isn't. So in which case, I'll select it for here, right, and again, I could select the time, so maybe I only want 30 minutes. I could actually just delete that and change it so it's only 20 minutes. Oh, sorry, back again. So it's only 20 minutes, and there you go, it'll fit in there. So I can easily find a time when all of us can meet. You'll also notice here, if you scroll down, or sorry, if I go back to event details, we've got event colour. You can have notifications. So these are my default settings here, but I might want notifying the day before. So I'm going to say I want an email 1 day before the event. Alright, I could add some more notifications if I wanted, so maybe I wanted emailing in the morning as well. So let's have 1 hour before the event. Alright, and this would now mean, if I was to click save, this would now mean that they would be notified, and they would have to say whether they were going to attend or not. You see you've got yes, maybe, no. So that would send an email to them. What notifications pop up depends on each of your settings. So if I've turned my settings off as default, then even if you ask to send me a notification, that won't happen. So I'll just click on back here. I'll discard changes because I don't want to create that event. We've then got creating new calendars. Right, so some of you are asking me about this. So in order to create a new calendar, I just click on this My Calendars here. I go to create new calendar, and here I'll say create a new calendar for the ICT room. I'll call it ICT room bookings, so that people can see a timetable. People can see a timetable of when the bookings, when it's being used, so see when they can use it. I can decide whether to make this public, so you could embed it on a web page, share this calendar with everyone in the organisation, or I could choose to add some specific people there. So again, that's up to you, and then you can choose whether they're allowed to see everything in there, whether they're allowed to make changes, just only to see whether you're free or busy. So then I can go back to create calendar. See it's loading. And now on the left again, I've got ICT room bookings, but it's the same colour as my headmaster's calendar. So again, I want to change that, and maybe let's make it a purple. So this time, if I click on here on a Wednesday, right, and it's being used Wednesday morning. So I need to change the calendar though. So down here, so calendar, I don't want it on mine, I want it on ICT room bookings, and I'll say IGCSE, ICT, Y9, and I create the event. Okay, and you can see that that's being created on the ICT room bookings form.